Hi, Kipsters. Happy Monday. My sister and I were sharing these M&Ms. I don't know about you, but I love candy. But I was looking at the M&Ms she had, and then I was looking at the ones that I had, and I saw that she had more than me. I wonder how I can find how many more she has, because I see she has way more than I do. So if I want to know how many more M&Ms she has, I have to find the difference. So Kipsters, today you get to help me solve a problem where we have to find the difference, or how many more problems. For this next one, go ahead and also take out a piece of paper so you can do this one with me too. So give me 1 second to go to our next part. Okay, there we go. All right, let's solve this one. Rose wrote 8 letters. Nickel wrote 12 letters. How many more letters did Nickel write than Rose? So again, Rose wrote 8 letters. And we can say that this is Rose's letters. These are her letters. R for Rose, 8 because she wrote 8 letters. Nickel wrote 12 letters. So we say, okay, N for Nickel, and she wrote 12. So she has 12 letters. 12 boxes to represent 12 letters. How many more did Nickel write than Rose? When I see that phrase, how many more, that tells me that something is not the same. So someone has way more than someone else, and we have to find the difference. What's the difference? And we can even see that clearly when we take out those letters that they wrote. Rose wrote 8, Nickel wrote 12. If I put them side by side, Kipsters, do they have the same amount of letters? No. Clearly, Nickel has more letters, and that's what we want to figure out. Okay, we know they don't have the same amount, so we want to know how many more does Nickel have? We know she has more, but just how many more does she have? And then this tape diagram, it's a really special one. It's called a double tape diagram because we have 2 people in this story. They each get their own little tape diagram. So we start with Rose's tape diagram. Give me 1 second so we can draw that. If we start with Rose, just like I did with my cube drawing, I can put an R for Rose. And then in the box, I'll just put 8 because I know she wrote 8 letters already. And now if I go to my next person, Nickel, I'll put N for Nickel. But now I'm thinking about her tape diagram. Remember, it didn't look the same as Rose's letters, but I see that they both have 8 in their letters. So Rose has 8, and then somewhere in her 12, Nickel also has 8. So we can make sure that our box matches with Rose and say, okay, she has 8. But then remember, Kipsters, she ended up having 12 altogether. But I can't fill in this next box and say, oh, let's use a different color. I can't fill in that next box and say, okay, she has 12 here. Because if I write that, that won't match the story. Her total is 12. She didn't write 12 more. All right. So now, I think we should draw those little arms that we talked about before. So let's draw her arm, the arms for the tape diagram. Give me a second. Okay. So we can show her total. Her total was 12 because she wrote 12 letters. We saw that before. She wrote 12 letters. And now, this is the part that I'm missing. I don't know how many more she wrote yet. We have to figure that out. And we'll look at it one more time just so you can see why are we figuring out how many more she has. Once again, we know they don't have the same amount. These are Rose's letters and these are Nickel's letters. I can see right here they have a different amount. And I want to know how many more does she have. So if they both have 8 somewhere in their letters, I think we should do our subtraction strategy like we did last time. So we can figure out what's this mystery number? How many more did she write? So we're going to start with our total again, 12 minus our part that we know, 8. And what's 12 minus 8? I'll give you a second to think about what 12 minus 8 is. Think about it carefully. 4, you got it. 12 minus 8 is 4. So Nickel wrote 4 more letters than Rose. Rose only made 8. Nickel made 4 more than Rose. So I can even count that. 1, 2, 3, 4. She has 4 more that Rose did not have. And we could also have used our counting on strategy just like we did with the previous problem. So to solve a how many more question, that just tells us that we have to eventually find the difference in a problem that we're solving. So let's clear this up and then let's see if we can go to the next one. Right, so let's see if you can solve this problem. Peter has 3 goats living on his farm. Julio has 9 goats living on his farm. How many more goats does Julio or Julio have than Peter? So again, Peter has 3 goats living on his farm. And in order to help you solve this, you can even draw the cubes like I did so you can picture if they have the same amount or just how different their amounts are. So like this, if I want to show with cubes, Peter has 3 goats. I can draw 3 cubes and say, those are Peter's actually. And then if I wanted to show Julio's goats, it says Julio has 9 goats living on his farm. I could draw 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we can say these are Julio's. Clearly, these are not the same amount of goats. It looks like Julio has more. And our question is, how many more goats does Julio have than Peter? So that means we have to find that difference. How many more does he have than Peter? So go ahead and you can draw either a tape diagram or a double tape diagram to help you. And then you can pause the video now so that you can come back and check if your work matches my work. All right, Kipsters, if you paused the video, great. Otherwise, if you didn't, go ahead and use your paper and your pencil to do this problem with me. And you can pause the video at any time to take your time to draw the problem out. So for this one, because we want to know how many more goats does one person have than the other person, we're going to use a double tape diagram. We already know that Peter just has 3 goats living on his farm. So we can label his little tape diagram. And he just has 3. Peter just has 3. Julio has 9 goats living on his farm. So remember, we want to eventually figure out how many more does he have. So just like before, okay, I'm going to make it a little bigger because I know he has more. They both have the same somewhere in their amount of goats. So Julio also has 3 somewhere in his goats. But remember, he has 9 all together. And we just want to know, okay, how many more does he have then? That's why I put my question mark. How many more does he have? So if I know one of his parts is 3 and I know his total is 9, I can do my subtraction number sentence again. I can start with my total 9, take away that part that I know, 3, so I'll write part, and then to get the part that I want to know. So think in your brains, what's 9 minus 3? You can even use your fingers to solve. Give yourself a few more seconds. What's 9 minus 3? It's 6. So that means Julio has 6 more than Peter. So again, Julio has 6 more goats than Peter. All right, Kipsters, I hope that your work matched my work. Let's see if we can do this next one. Willie picked 16 apples in the orchard. Emmy picked 10 apples in the orchard. How many more apples did Willie pick than Emmy? So we can go ahead and draw this out in our screen. And you can go ahead and also pause the video if you want to solve this on your own first and then come back to check your work. So Willie picked 16 apples in the orchard. Emmy picked 10 apples in the orchard. How many more apples did Willie pick than Emmy? So let's draw a double tape diagram to find that difference, because I can already tell, just picturing it in my brain too, if Emmy picked 10 apples, I'm going to draw her tape diagram. And the tape diagram just shows me how many they have. It's an easy way, quick way to show me. So if she has 10, okay, and Willie picks 16. I already know 16 is a bigger number than 10, so I know Willie has more. So we're going to make his tape diagram a little longer because he doesn't have only 10. All right, so we know, okay, if Willie has 16, somewhere in those 16 apples, we would be able to find 10 apples too. All right, so if we were to just look at that little section for Willie and then Emmy's apples, right now it shows that they both have 10. But we know from the story, Willie has way more than 10. He has 16. So that's what we're figuring out. How many more does he have then? And remember, it wouldn't make sense for me to put the number 16 here, because then that means Willie went out and bought or picked 16 more. He didn't pick 16 more. He has 16 all together. So again, Kipsters, if you went into your box and you put the 16 in there, that wouldn't make sense because he did not get 16 more. He has 16 altogether in total. So for us to show our total, we're going to make the little arms in our tape diagram and put 16. That's his total. That's how many he has altogether. And our job is to find the part we want to know. How many more does he have? And if you remember from our last 2 problems, what did we do to figure out how many more? How did we find the difference? We subtracted. So we start with our total, and then we took away the part that they both have that's the same. They both have that part 10. Emmy and Willie both have that part. That's what's the same with them. And now we get to see, oh, what's different then? How many more does Willie have that Emmy does not have? So in your brain, think, 16 minus 10. You can even draw your 5 group rows if you remember how to draw those. You can draw your 5 group rows and then take away 10. So I'm going to give you a few seconds. What's 16 minus 10? It's 6. So Willie has 6 more. Okay, so remember he has 6 more. Because both of them, the same part that they have is 10. Emmy has 10, and then Willie, somewhere in his total of 16 apples, we can find 10. And in order for us to have found the difference, we started with our total, we took away the part that they both have that's the same, and we were able to find that difference. He has 6 more. All right, Kipsters, thank you so much for helping me with these. With your help, these are much easier.